Now, what do you make, first of all, of Kwasi Kwarteng being sacked yesterday morning, flying back from Washington? The paper's reporting he had absolutely no idea that he was going to be sacked. But many people saying this was her budget as much as it was his. And is it right that he was the fall guy?
Well, I think both of them should be the fall guy. I'm not concerned about the personal circumstances of the Prime Minister or the former Chancellor. I'm concerned about the difficulty their policies have got the country in. We're already in a pretty grim situation. 7 million people on NHS waiting lists, local authorities' budgets slashed by 50%. Now Jeremy Hunt saying they're going to be slashed even further. I'm not concerned about their political life, so to speak. I'm concerned about how their policies are affecting and impacting upon the lives of thousands and thousands of people in my constituency and millions right across the country. And just final point, they knew this was going to happen. They were warned about this 3-4 weeks ago, and they just went ahead in this inappropriate and outrageous way.
I mean, there has been an acknowledgement that perhaps, as the Prime Minister said last night, this went further and faster than the markets were willing to take. But the fundamental goal was and admittedly, that's clearly going to change because of the U-turn, but fundamentally, it's about creating growth. And without growth in our economy, we're not going to be able to help everyone across the whole spectrum of this country, but particularly those people who are most in need. A growing economy is what we need.
Well, yes, but there's 2 points in relation to that one. We've had 12 years of this government, and they've had the lowest growth virtually, for many of those years in the group of 7. That's all our economic competitors. So the policies that they've been pursuing since George Osborne have maintained these levels of low growth. So the idea that you just continue what's been happening for the past 12 years seems to me to be quite silly to continue to do that. It is daft to continue to do what you've done for the past 12 years and, in fact, bear down on it. Why would you do that? I think there has to be a complete change of approach to the economy. And the other thing is, they always call about these fiscal rules. Well, the Conservative government have had 10 fiscal rules. They've broken all 10 of them. And this is the latest approach that has been trashed. So they've got a history of these, we're going to do this, do that, and actually never deliver. And growth is lower than ever. Productivity of workers in the country is significantly less than our French and German counterparts. And there's absolutely nothing that the Tories have been doing for the past 5 or 10 years that's going to do anything to change that. So more of the same is not an option.
Yeah, but the problem... Sorry, Andy, I was going to say the problem is with this, Peter, right? You say, as every Labour Party member does, well, let's bring on the general election. Let's bring in the changes. Right? Perhaps there's an appeal to that. There's no guarantee that whatever Keir Starmer and whoever he puts in as Chancellor is going to make, actually, the slightest bit of difference. And if it doesn't, well, you just turn around and say, well, actually, that's not our fault. It's the fault of the last administration.
No, because what you've got to have is sustained levels of investment, both private and public levels of investment in our public services and our public infrastructure as well. That's the way to get growth, sustained levels of growth, long-term, patient growth in the economy, where the private sector and the public know that you're going to be investing X amount in the economy year on year. It's not going to be cut in 2 years' time. It's not going to be a pullback on with fiscal retrenchment and changes to our monetary policy, which does confuse the markets. What you've got to have is a sustained level of investment over the years so people know where they are. Sustained levels of investment in the NHS. As I said before, 7 million people on a waiting list with best part of 10% of the NHS workforce vacant. They're the sort of things that you've got to tackle in that wider sense. It isn't just about digits and figures and percentages at the end of a statement. It's about the substance of what you do, how you want to invest, what sort of country that you want. And finally, in relation to the issue about growth, I'm not against growth as long as the growth is sustainable, but it's no good growing the pie if the pie just goes to all the people who've already got it. That's the road to nowhere.